Friday Heaters, the podcast. Today we are here with Lauren Quin, the artist. We're going to get into her art practice. She's got a big show right now at Pace Gallery in Los Angeles, and her paintings are known for incredible expressions of color and form where you don't know where the image starts and ends. I find them to be guttural and sensual and have a hard edge as well. They're colorful, but they're not cute and pretty. These are like deep expressions, and you stand in front of them and they just command the power in the room. Lauren Quin definitely paints heaters. We got John on the cameras. John films all of our heaters. We travel the world together. So you might think it's just Ben, the heaters guy, but it's also John. This is a big one. Let's heat it up.
Is that your line? Let's heat it up.
A little bit.
Let's get cooking.
That was the best first take I've done.
Why is it Friday Heaters?
It's Friday Heaters because several years ago, I started working with an art advisor, Cecilia Dan. We had this monthly routine of once a month, we would go out on Fridays and check out new artwork, visit new artists, studio visits, whatever it may be. And I think at some point in that month cycle, I started just being like, yo, Cecilia, when are we going to go check out the next Heaters? And that just happened, and Heaters being hot new art. It was often a Friday. And Cecilia, for those who don't know, is this lifer LA art person.
No, she's a classic LA personality.
Classic LA distinguished veteran. Well,
she's in the mix.
She's in the mix. Yes, exactly. She's still mixing it up for sure. Sass, like she's a force. Yeah, let's just get right into it. Lauren, so you have your first debut show. This is a timely podcast. You have your first debut show with Pace Gallery in Los Angeles. It's a big deal. Big gallery, big show. How are the emotions? We're like 1 or 2 weeks since the opening?
Yeah, I think it's 2. It's 2 weeks.
Okay.
I don't know.
How are you settling into the come down and...
Come down, like immediately I had a stomach flu and kind of stayed in a ball. But you know, it's good for me. I mean, I need to be like put down. So it was good. I mean, I feel great. The opening was huge.
Yeah.
And, it's not really about the birthday party for the show, but it's so much more about like the hope that you have leading up to the show. Kind of like wakes you up in the morning.
Yeah.
Keeps you alive. You know? So I feel like I'm trying to get back into working in the studio. But it's raining, it's cold, and I'm just taking a breather. I have like so many social things to do now. Yeah, I'm just sort
hanging
of
with us.
Yeah, I definitely got back into the studio, and I feel like that's really important to just get in there and touch everything, keep the paints wet. But almost 2 years worth of work that I've been saving up for this moment. I gave like a lot of work for it.
Yeah.
And I showed like a third of that. So yeah, I'm trying to be comfortable resting. But I went to Florence actually with Anthony.
Yeah.
We went to Florence, kind of snuck away for a week.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because there's no tourists there at this time of year.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw the Fra Angelico show and
very cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
And for those out there who don't know, Anthony is
my fiance.
Nice. Shout out to Anthony. Clap.
Yeah.
Congratulations. For those who are less familiar with your work, your art is often described as very colorful, very bright and vibrant. How would you describe it to someone you met in an elevator or had to sit next to on an airplane?
Yeah, I had this moment actually at a dinner where someone hadn't met me and sort of asked me for an elevator pitch. And I was saying, my mind goes blank sometimes. But what it really was is that I was looking to sort of describe the type of formlessness that I'm chasing without the elements that I feel have been assigned to me. There was sort of this emotional register that was sort of assigned to the color palette that I didn't agree with. And I think even more generally, I was absorbing and thinking about the ways that I see abstraction sort of on a larger level. People who are making abstract paintings, like what's the conversation being, like where is can we define our terms here? Like this like emotional quality to color. And I wanted to prove something to myself about whether the paintings would hold up if I really knew the dial. Like I feel like it's not that they're without color. They are. I should really back up and say that they're like I'm chasing a monochrome, but like the emotional register assigned to my color palette was really bothering me.
And that's from your previous work. Is
my previous work and even like from the work that I was making up until that point, I think I was always looking for competitive colors, always searching for a non-existent color by like pushing everything in front. I wanted this sort of the capacity for the painting to be an argument, So there was something about everything pushing itself forward that I wanted to see what would happen if the paintings would still be successful, like within the criteria that I've sort of built out already.
When the emotional association with your previous work, am I to assume that like that's because it's colorful and super intense that people are assigning?
I don't like
bright and I don't
happy.
Like
bright. I'm like, what is this focus on psychedelia or like the psychedelic? Where does that come from? Like, I was almost thinking like this is almost inverse to like anything analytic, and why? And then like, is it friendly to people? Am I friendly? I think that
you're friendly, but I don't interpret your paintings as friendly.
I think that I was just really wanting to break down the tendencies that I had with the paintings, and then the language and like the arguments that are being made on a larger scale.
If I can add my 2 cents for everybody out there, I think when the work that I've known you for up until this show is very colorful, very intense, but I find it to be like edgy and guttural and like punches you in the face in a very like provocative, intense way. So that's where the color takes me. And so I'm just wanting to note that for everybody else. Like that's I think what maybe on first impression, it's like, oh yeah, very colorful. But like, I think that's more of what people associate the emotions as far as I've been around the folks that I've been around with your work.
I think that there is something about, I wanted to understand what makes red passionate, what makes yellow happy, like these calm, green people kind of associate, they like identify with it. And there's always in every abstract painting, you're dealing with like the associations of color, of shapes, of language and all these things that you have to really work with and against. But I think that I wanted, if the paintings to me, at least they were chasing like a loudness, I wanted to understand the dial, I think.
And so now then with this show, you use the word monochrome. Definitely, I feel like the dial on the color is turned down, but there's still very much you.
It was a game for myself, for like a set of rules, and then rules are meant to be broken. And I'm starting to steal the color back in, because every black was a mixed black. It was me taking my palette and mixing it all into neutrals. So everything is sort of, it just brings the color out more fully. But I also think it brings the form into more focus, and really there's a struggle in that. But I found so many areas that I feel like I'm ready to pick through again.
For those of us who are less familiar with like how painting works, when you say you're adding color to black or adding it to the white, so these images are,
it's that black is a mixed color. There's like, you can add in pigment, you can add in like a carbon black. But there's also, you can mix black by pushing green and purple together, or a phthalo blue and like a umber. Like it can create a warm black, a cool black. It's a register that I also was tuning myself to in the studio. And I was doing it as a way to let my eyes adjust. And then once I would make a monochrome, I would look at a full chroma, a full-fledged painting, something older that I was looking at, and I would see the color new again. It was like a way of stepping outside of myself and understanding how, if I could possibly see them like an observer would, of like with fresh eyes in the studio. I couldn't tell if I had acclimated to this sense of this color palette, to this sense of color. Was it completely mine, or was it something else that I wasn't being disciplined in? So it was a way of working against it. I was also kind of just emotionally going through a hard time. I'm not complaining about my life here, but I was kind of having a turning point of my own, and I felt like I couldn't focus and I couldn't quiet the noise, and this was the only way that I could make a painting. So, day in, day out in the studio, when I knew I had to be there, but I just couldn't make anything else. That's what I was making.
Very cool.
For a minute, I felt like I was hedging my bets with this idea. So I was making another full color show just in case I put it in the gallery and it didn't work.
Kind of smart.
And then I just decided to give it a chance.
So kind of a combination of like intentionally seeking out this new palette, but also just responding to your own personal life. And
it was unavoidable. And there's just certain ways that I feel I need to, it's sort of like the painting itself. There's like all this ritual that initiates you into the painting, and in the initiation is everything you already know how to do. And so sometimes I still need a bit of initiation, if that's, a mark or a tendency or a flow or something to kind of get me there. I think it's all the steps and technique, and the process is, there's a point in which the painting turns on its head and it becomes completely its own thing, and not just what you hope it will be.
I'm seeing it in my head as you're describing. It's like, oh yeah, I can see what you're talking about. But it is, and maybe inevitably just because of the nature of the abstraction. I don't know if it's hard, if that's just like an eternal challenge for artists or for students to like put words to what our eyes create or eyes take in.
There's always something a bit awkward about it because it's leaning on one sense to describe another in a way.
I like that, leaning on one sense to describe another.
Yeah, like there's certain sound effects that have names, and I think that there are certain visual effects that have names, but these names don't describe what they are. You can only really lean on one to get the other. There's always a dissonance, and how do you find a way to be literal about that dissonance and stay in that in between space? Because I think it's the space in which your first reaction, it is right. Like everyone who takes in the painting and looks at it, they are correct, and I think there's like a barrier to entry, and you were talking maybe about how you want to reach a wider audience than just people who are already fluent in the art world. But I actually do think that with abstraction, everything you're seeing and everything you're thinking is correct, and that we've, as the artist, like I've planned for that, and I think that there's just no wrong way to take it in. On occasion, someone's like, I see a bird or a face, and I'm like, where? But if that happens, it's kind of it's on me,
Sure.
And so I in that way, I feel that there's a responsibility, and that responsibility that the onus is on me with the palette, to see outside of myself.
I would say of the art that I find myself responding to a lot, sometimes it's not abstract, but like to hear you put words to abstraction is really helping me to embrace more of the mystery of it, I guess, and just get excited about it. What you're saying can capture a lot of abstraction, not just your own. To
build on that, there's types of synchronicity that only art can really address, maybe, and there's a type of spirituality to making things, especially when you don't necessarily have a plan. And I always felt the way that painting can reveal itself, and making art in general can reveal something about that thread, and there is a link, and there's a way that we can understand each other. There's something that happens when you're making art for a while and you're in a community of people making art where suddenly two people have the same idea, and that neither of them copied the other.
Ooh.
And there's there's that little grip at your heart where you're like, that's my idea. And then there's something else, which is maybe it's not, like maybe there's something larger at play. And
it's like none of our ideas.
But like, or we're all porous and absorbent. And that's, if you can check your ego, that can be sometimes a relief. Part of having inspiration is there's something at one point that moves you somewhere or touches you in some way that like leads you to have like a compulsion for this. Yeah, it's a bit bigger than you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of universal. No, I think it's kind of, that's the nature of like creativity too. It's like it's universal across like any medium. Where all that creation comes from will remain a mystery to some extent. Emma Webster, now my fiance. So she's an artist too. We've covered her on Friday Heaters, the news, the updates. But she is a peer of yours. You guys both went to Yale for grad school. And I feel like you guys are kind of in stride with each other and having interesting experience.
We also get so excited when we see each other because
I've noticed that.
we've been in the same rooms in different contexts. And so I feel like she has the best intentions and she's really engaged with people. And that's very endearing to me. And I think I get how hard she works.
Yeah,
she understands the struggles, and she's very generous.
Yeah, she and John and I, we hang out a lot, filming Heaters. We travel the world together, but we often
you go too.
Yeah, John's traveled with us because whenever we go for anywhere for Emma's shows, oftentimes we'll try and film some Heaters, and so I'll often give John a ring and see if he's available.
Yeah,
Emma and I joke about at times how you are a big dog. So how
that's so funny.
A lot of people revere you. You have had a lot of success. You have a presence to your art, to who you are. Do you feel that sense of being a big dog?
No, I don't feel like a big dog.
It's kind of hard.
I still
to answer
feel that I'm cutting my teeth sometimes, and I think that there's the way that you do it is an expression of the work itself. It takes the shape of the work as well. And when I talk about the work, I don't want to have like superfluous language to it. Superfluous. Yeah. But like I don't want to have the kind of language to it that can't be accessed from such a way. I think if they are complex ideas, they should be able to be put simply, to be able to communicate on the ground floor of things too.
That's a big dog answer.
That's a big dog answer. I like that. See, I'm pretty sure it originated from John.
In the end, my heroes are sort of in their 80s, and I want to be doing this in my 80s, and and that's you just keep going.
Yep, keep going.
There is conversations in abstraction that I feel are mostly women abstract painters that I'm interested in how we're all building out this field or like picking up on these traditions, even especially in California, like the Rebecca Morris and Laura Owens of it all. There is a thread, there's a vein that I hope to be a part of. I feel I have respect for and reverence for in a way, and want to be a part of the conversation. The thing is, though, is that we're kind of in conversation with each other without having to be in touch because of the things we're making. And that's what I'm talking. Maybe that's what I'm talking about. The syncopated forces. It's thrilling that can be the case, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. The ambitions for the show is to define my terms and have a gauntlet in some way, and be contending to that conversation. Yeah. And there's so many shows that I'm so excited for during Freeze to go see. I'm like, this is the time. This is when LA lights up.
Really popping off. I think back to seeing your first, I think the first paintings of yours I saw were, I can't remember the name of it.
You came to my studio.
Yeah, but I went to the show you had in Echo Park with like 2 paintings.
Oh, that was at Smart Objects.
Smart Objects. Yeah. Early days.
Yeah.
And it
was me, Bree Williams, and Elizabeth Englander.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was, if I saw those paintings now, I would know that they're your paintings, but they don't look, like it's starting, the kind of like the flickers of what would become were in that show. And so I guess I'm curious, when did some of the shapes and techniques that you're known for now really start to come online for you, or really start to clarify?
I had a really lucky moment, I think, because it was right after my thesis show that I found a certain mark that I wanted to work with. I think my thesis show was a real failure.
Okay.
And in that discomfort, I sort of, they weren't going to fail me out of school. I just wasn't happy with it. I wanted to try making a painting with just a mark that was completely different from mine. And so that's where this tube form came from. And it's just a couple colors on one brush. I started to paint by pulling the negative, by carving into the wet paint.
Yeah, that's another term I've heard people use with your work, carving.
Yeah, all these areas of the painting are now collapsed on top of themselves. They are all one. Mm-hmm. And at the time, they were sort of operating these little
the ingredients
zones.
were
ding, ding, ding.
in
Yeah,
their own
exactly.
little section.
And I was interested in this sort of up close and far away. I found that mark and I sort of started to understand how it would be put together just through making it by trial and error. But that happened right as I finished my thesis and finished school. So I think I moved to LA with a bone to pick. and that was really, really helpful because it wasn't that I was worried about, getting my bearings. The pandemic happened. There was a bit of, you got to just commit to this and give it everything you've got because what else are you going to do after school? Yeah. I was so excited. I felt like this exuberant openness. Moving back to California, like you just feel the light hit you differently, and it does change your color sense. I think we should study this. Yeah. But I think it did for me, and it did when I moved here the first time.
It's kind of magic as I'm sitting here visualizing that moment of you finding that mark making, and what we see of your work now, and I'm like putting myself in that room with you as you're just beginning that chapter. It's like, whoa, it's about to blast off.
Yeah. I mean,
easier. Yeah. Always easy to say in hindsight.
Maybe in hindsight, sure. I think that Emma and I have talked about this. Like when that was happening, I still felt like a student in the way that I was approaching the studio, approaching the world. I mean, I was thrilled by it, but I wasn't protecting myself. So, when things would go up for auction and I'd be like, this is, I'm a student. What do you mean I'm a student? I'm allowed to make mistakes and they shouldn't stand in front of everything that I've learned up to get to the point where I am now. It shouldn't be it didn't feel like a mistake, but it can hurt. It can feel a little bit wounding because you don't get to pick those moments. I don't want to lament successes that I've had, but also because who knows really how much is responsible for success, but it was happening at the same time. And it was a different moment, where people were really there was a lot of heat.
So you're kind of you're delving into your own new creative process, and then sort of the outside world starts to respond. And is it like you're not able to sit in that fun yourself without getting pulled?
I was moving, I was really moving things along because the work was in these little compartmentalized zones in the painting. And then I think that show at Smart Objects it was the first time I had shown anyone this new idea where I was like, okay, so I'm going to put the printing and the carving all inside of the one tube, and the tube is going to cover the painting. And that I took a few more years to flesh that out, but it's all still there. It's all still involved in the paintings they are now. That show was the first time I had shown anyone. Okay. So it was a turning point for me too, to show them. But I had shows before that were even earlier that were different. I think I've made so much more progress in those techniques, but I'm still using the tube mark that I use. I'm still using the carving. I'm still using the printing. Which
for the layman, those three typically don't exist together. I would just say when I look at your paintings, or we were at your show last week, the fact that you sit there and you see all of these processes slammed on top of each other, but still making sense.
So it's sort of pulling the positive out of the negative. There was this heat that was happening, and there was the show at Smart Objects that's one example of it. But also what was happening at the same time is the pandemic hit, and everyone was looking at things on their screens, and everyone was sharing things on their screens, and there's this assumption about the screen space that started to become a topic of conversation. And all of this is me with my hands and my fingers and, you know, like the end of a knife and sort of like my teeth, if I could, you know, trying to figure out how to pull this space of painting like into focus for myself. So there was this disconnect between the hand and the eye in a way. There was a way, and I'm just looking at this Kate Mosher Hall behind you, and I'm like, yeah, I love the work. But there was a way in which the paintings and all the detail and carving that I was doing was breaking down on a screen. It was getting this like moire effect, and it was sort of frying out. And I was thinking about that a lot, and I was thinking about the sort of, I don't want to use the dissonance, but like the breakdown, like the failures of it, what they mean. How I started relating it to sound, vocal fry, and maybe the loudness of the color and the expression of the tone. I was thinking about kind of the curves of the line and how it would sort of, the values from light to dark would be sort of undulating underneath one tube mark when I carve it out, and that would pull that line forward, and sort of thinking about these problems. And that was something that I was always pushing up against, this screen space. People would ask if I made them on a computer, and I would feel offended, but it's not that they said anything offensive. It's that it's clearly piercing the armor somehow. So I was really working with that, and that still kept me going to try and understand how to make a mark that's entirely mine, that people don't have a name for yet, because it's just kind of a little bit more idiosyncratic or something. But to explain these elements and how they are cohering and how I'm like pulling through, try and find something new to explain it without standing in front of it to explain it, without getting rid of it. So that color kind of helped me do that. I felt like there was a way in turning down the color that maybe I could explain something about the paintings and make an argument for them and why they are successful to me, I hope.
Yeah, for sure. It's such an ambitious task to think. I mean, reinventing the wheel in any creative medium is, I feel like, almost impossible these days, given how much creative expression is coming out of humanity. And so, I'm just saying, like, and surely, of course, your work and marks are influenced by generations in the past. But I feel, knowing you and experiencing your work and knowing how you've attacked it, you really have grinded and persevered and grappled to get to that point where you've defined like your own mark or your own language, I guess they say. I mean, it's,
again, though, all of this language, it's the tools in my toolbox that like can lead me to a point in which I can look at a painting and say, I'm out of options. Now what? And that's it's all leading up until that place. And then there's a point in which, in a painting, because I don't have a plan of how it will end, where I almost feel like it's ruined. And that's the point in which I look at it, instead of hoping it'll be something else, you know, maybe a painting, some other idea I have to let it go, and then I'm looking at it for what it is, and that becomes kind of where I can find something new. I always have this feeling in my head, like maybe I just need to find the right tool, and there's just this temptation to buy it, like maybe if I buy the right paint color or something, like it'll work, and I've just learned that it's never that. It's always something there. And so
in you, not
and I think narrowing the scope of things. I mean, the pandemic was really helpful for me because the scope was narrowed as well. Yeah, I mean, I think I find the most inspirational moments to be as I'm driving away from the studio, and the farther and farther I get, I start thinking, I should have said that. You know what I mean? And that's really what keeps me kind of addicted to it.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's never where you think it's going to be. You have it when you need it, not when you want it, kind of.
On the note of getting extra tools, I think I learned that you're using all sorts of shrapnel to scrape or to make your own tools for moving paint around. Can you give us some examples of those?
I mean, Yeah, a butter knife,
Okay.
like straws, drinking straws.
Yeah. How do you use a drinking straw for those out in the world?
I kind of scrape. I mean, I
With
used
the
to.
tip or like?
It's sort of it scoops.
Okay.
I don't know. I've sort of found an angle with it. I just,
Cool.
whatever's floating around. It's also, when you need a cup, you will make a cup. You know what I mean? It's when you finally found what you need to do. If I could just execute the painting and I knew how it was going to go, that would be great. But when you finally understand what you need to do, it's so imperative. It's like I'm going to forget the word for it. It's so imperative that you just barrel ahead. So you'll find anything. And
it's like the ultimate flow state. I feel like you're describing, like definitely flow state, but just where it's just like you grab whatever and because you know what the thing that you need to make.
I really
visual. You can see it.
Yeah, I think so. Or I can feel it. I don't know. I mean, I question the flow state sometimes because, maybe because I get it, I am in that or I'm working with that or trying, but I think that the flow state is always about discipline.
Yeah, for sure.
It's about like being rested and like practiced and prepared, but also not like prescribing it. It sort of feels like dancing, when you're like, just for a minute. For me, maybe it can be very happy, but it's always a release.
Feels more physical just as you describe it, or I'm visualizing it.
Yeah.
I'm imagining like Lauren in the studio and then grabbing stuff and moving paint around. And
it's definitely physical. I think because I'm moving the paint around while it's wet in a way that's a little bit more methodical or like rhythmic than it is like a de Kooning, I think is a different way of moving the paint around, but maybe it's just his language. Okay. But I don't see it necessarily as rhythmic. Okay. There's points in which I'm doing something kind of like a cross hatching. Do you know what that is? Like it's like a really classic way of building out form and shadow. And I think about fundamental quite a bit because I'm working with these marks that have equal amounts of weight to them. And there's something about the competitiveness and pulling something forward and sort of this like economy of sort of volume that happens when you maybe select a mark that you're kind of in a war with. It
sounds great.
Yeah, I miss painting.
Sounds challenging as well.
I miss my studio today.
Thank you for letting us pull you away from your studio and do one more hang.
It's good for me. It's good to miss it.
That on that note, I think we've talked a lot about too. Can you take us through like how you structure your day, how you take care of your body, how you rest? Are you very disciplined? Are you gym person, runner person?
I'm a runner. I've told you this. I'm a runner. I just, I have sort of changed my lifestyle, I feel like, in the past 3 or 4 years, where I used to be a little bit more of a night owl, and now I'm like a super early morning person. But I also have, I think, 30 hits and you just start having sleeping problems and all the stress like percolates in your body and you felt untouchable at one point and you're not anymore. Yeah. So I wake up like a bat out of hell in the middle of the night. And I don't know. I set my own hours. So if I can't sleep, I just go to work. Yeah. And there's something I really love about like waking up before the sun and watching the sun rise and fall and like having all of that time that I really enjoy. And I think running for me, I don't know, it tunes me and it's a way of emptying my head at the end of the day. Because if I go from the studio straight to a social setting, I'm just not there. Whoa. Yeah. I don't know how to I don't know where to look.
Yeah.
And that's part of like why I feel if I come from the studio and as I'm leaving, I feel like I get so much ideas on the drive home. I think it's because I'm sort of exfoliated
Yeah.
in a way.
I like that. Yeah.
I remember that my friend sent me a meme, and it's like when you exfoliate your skin and then you go out in the sun without sunblock, that like that what is the skeleton in the chair? Like I don't know. Never
Probably
mind.
some UV damage.
Please cut that. Yeah, running for me is my favorite thing, and I never really want to. I measure it because I like to know how far I go, but I don't want to compete with it.
Sure.
But when I was in school, actually, there's this way where you're in an art program and everyone wants to be good. Everyone's
I've
trying.
heard that about Yale.
And there's no unit of measurement. There's no good or bad necessarily. Yeah. Everyone's kind of working on their own project, but everyone is competitive still. And so there's this sort of, that I think that's why people really fight and kind of, it's hard, and it's hard to receive criticism as well. But criticism is honestly like the purest and most loving way of looking at something too. But I think that I got into climbing.
Okay.
And running became even more in focus for me because there's something, it's like, just run up that hill, like just get to the top of that thing and then you've done it.
Yeah.
And there's something about like, I need a unit of measurement that is yay high right now.
Totally.
That was really helpful.
In band days and playing in indie bands in my 20s and 30s. And
you're more than 30?
Yeah, I'm 41.
I have baby face.
I have lucked out in life with a baby face. Yeah. Yeah, I can sneak it in.
Isn't it so annoying?
It's so annoying. The baby-faced men.
Sorry, guys.
You're gonna look 10 years younger when you're 10 years older.
I have my own routine.
Sure.
But at least for me, I think having metrics in other parts of life were helpful. Mm-hmm. How many hours do you think you're at a studio? Average hours at the studio in a day?
I really like a long day. This is when I have nothing else going on. Mm-hmm. I don't like having other plans. But Anthony actually has been able to like track my mood depending on the day of the week because once I get, it's like I need to see people and be social too. Sure. But I on Monday I'm having a really hard time in the studio because I'm just getting back acclimated to it. Mm-hmm. And then on Tuesday I'm upset. Yeah. Wednesday things are looking up. Yeah. Thursday and Friday I like hit a flow, and then Saturday I like have plans. Sunday I always take it off to spend with him most of the time. Yeah. I have a Monday and I'm like, the process repeats itself. He's so used to me expressing my frustration with how I just can't paint and have no ideas today. And he's like, well, it's Tuesday, so relax. That feels like a very effective routine and committed routine. I love it. Yeah. This question just popped up. This is something I've been curious about. I've talked with them about. Do you think your presence as an attractive woman affects how people interpret me? So you think I'm pretty? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just for the world. I feel like I wanted to be like as diplomatic as I could. I feel like that is part of the conversation, and I want to be respectful, and I want to also like kind of dig into that because I think it is something that deserves some airtime. I mean, I think your fiance is pretty damn beautiful. Totally. Agreed. I'm just teasing. I think everybody who you're navigating the art world and then also just navigating the world in general. And like you learn how to be aware of that. I think, I don't know how to, ask me another question and I'll figure out how to answer this. But I don't know. I mean, there's no perfect way. Yeah. Like, I think that it's like the way that you sell your art is a reflection of like your stance on art, the way that you share it, the way that you move through the world and navigate the world is a reflection of that. I think, I wouldn't say like I don't lead with that because I think that like there is an eroticism in abstraction that like, no matter who's making it, like you have to contend with that. So I think that's true. Like when I first experienced your art, there's like, I don't know abstract art that well, but there's some stuff going on. There's here. Charge. Yeah. Sensuality or sure. Yeah. I think, but that is like the nature of looking at something abstract and like coming at it from a human perspective
Yeah.
that we all have. I think there's no perfect way to do it. And I think
Well said.
I try to be careful with my image and stuff. Like my heroes, my painting heroes, they are like older women, and I have the same types of insecurities as like everyone. And I think that I remind myself that my heroes are older women, and I want to be one of those heroes. You know what I mean? Like that's where I can't wait for that. I feel this with painters, that I look at their paintings and I feel like I'm seeing an extension of them. Like I feel like I'm meeting their fraternal twin brother or something. And you're like, oh, you've got nose or jaw, or like your eyes are kind of in a similar place, and you start to see that resemblance. It's like meeting someone's family or something, and they all have the same laugh. You know, that's sort of what paintings are, and they're these sort of series of decisions. So you can really see sort of the neurotic tendencies, the way that people control things that they can't control. I try and keep that in front of mind.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking of artists that really lead with that too. People I know.
As you were talking about, us both appreciating that whoever just shows up kind of authentically themselves and a healthy balance of both. Got a couple small ones.
Now I'm all warmed up.
I know, right?
You know, like I could go again.
Your career starts popping off, and you're known for your work, and you're known for being Lauren Quin, and you're getting all this response for your work, for who you are. Do you play defense against that all, or is that why you have a gallery at your back who is protecting or dealing with all of that? I
really put a lot of faith in my dealers, and I think that they did the best they could with what they knew. And you know, it's the same as it's like exactly the same thread that we were just talking about. Like I see the way that other people have done it, and I wonder if I should have gone that path or that path, but I'm on mine. Yeah. So here we are, you know. It's just important for like kind of managing the pressures that come along with it. You know. Yeah. Because they do, like if you kind of allow that, the pressures do come along with it. You know, the more access you allow certain people and their intentions leak in too, it can mean, you know, you start to churn out work really fast. And are you thinking through the work? Or people want you to make the same painting every time. They want the painting they've seen. And so you are you pushing yourself forward? Are you changing your parameters or requirements for it? And so like, yeah, you have to be defensive. Yeah. But the advice that I've gotten is like, when you're in the studio and you're thinking about money, you're going to try and paint money. You know, if you're thinking about something, it's going to come out in however your language is, it still comes out. Yeah. So like if you're thinking of someone else and how you don't want to be compared to someone else, like that just comes forward. And also like the comparisons are so painful, so necessary. You gotta check your ego at the door with that sometimes. You know, it's like I was saying about criticism. If it hurts, if it pierces, then in a way people are seeing you, and that's very generous. So that's how I feel about certain criticism. Sometimes people are just trying to put you down, but like the way that Emma and I start to, we wind each other up and then we go. Yeah. It's like, ding.
I've witnessed that.
Yeah. When that happens, that's, you know, and the way that I think she's critical about work, artist to artist, like truly looking and truly trying to understand. And so there's just something that really, it's so generous about that I try and listen to. But
feels like as you're saying, as you're explaining that, the word boundary comes up. Like it seems like you would need to develop the skill of setting good boundaries with people to protect your art, to protect your practice, to your time.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like there's so many ways that it's happened for me, and also there's boundaries that are always kind of being blurred. It's just about keeping the rope taut, you know, about how much you give away, how much you share, and like how much you marinate like think through these ideas before you give it away.
Yeah.
And that's with dealers. That's with other artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's with collectors.
Sure.
I think that's, it's always relevant.
Okay, here's one of my quick questions. So I heard when you were traveling in Italy, you lost your contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us like how bad your vision is?
Yeah, I have really bad vision.
And do you think
I wear contacts? I've always had bad vision. I'm -10.
Okay,
out of 20.
That's not.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I can't see farther than like here.
Okay.
And
for those who are not watching on YouTube, Lauren just put her hand about 6 inches in front of her face.
Yeah, I can see very close up, Yeah. I think a lot of people who have that, you don't even want to get, you can't get the surgery. It's never gonna work, because if your eye is curved in a certain way and they try and shave down your eye, it can only take off so much.
Right. Does your poor eyesight, do you think that affects at all
Yeah.
the way you create or how you see?
Of course. I mean, I think it's hard to break down how that would affect me because that's all I've ever known. But I think I do have a relationship with like the very, very, the smallest mark and like the smallest hairline. Like I think about the weave of the canvas and it has all these like, it's a grid. It's a dips and valleys and there's these little tiny dots. Actually, Mary Weatherford's paintings are nice because I don't think she sands the canvas. And so then it picks up, and when she primes it, these ridges of or no, it's not canvas, it's like fancy linen.
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember
the burlap. I don't know. But like there's like, and so then you see it falling down the ridges of the canvas, the pigment. And I think in the way that I'm always removing as much paint as I'm putting down, I really pay attention to that. And I have a relationship to that. And I think it's, in a way, I have the feedback that when I'm finished with the painting, my eye is traveling and I can't rest. And I think that that's something that I try to show the audience or the viewer. But there's just elements of color that are sort of supernatural that come through motion that I've been sort of reaching for. There's this one painting called Pitch, and there's a way in which hatching and then pulling a mark in a rhythmic way and like fighting it. And it worked because I was mixing all of these blacks, and each black would then stand out against, it's like the pigment would re-separate itself. And so all of these colors were coming through again, like really pushing themselves forward. And it reminded me of like feathering, of these like a feather that's green on one side and red on the other, and moving it starts to create something that's, we've all seen it. It's like this iridescence. It was so thrilling to me that I could find that animated quality to color again through this sort of backwards way of trying to remove all the color again, and so it's wherever you go, there you are.
So maybe you don't get to that experience if you had perfect vision.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But I just have like a third world that's
in an emergency. Without them, you would be fairly blind.
Without them, well, that was funny because in Florence, I couldn't get I forgot to pack my glasses, and I couldn't put my contacts in, and so Anthony was like leading me around, and I was so sad. I was so sad because I had to be on all these antibiotics. So like I also couldn't drink wine. Yeah. So I was just kind of like upset, and I couldn't go for a run, and I couldn't like go look at the art, which is why I was there.
Brutal.
I know. I was just like sad. And all these cobblestone roads, like I couldn't do anything on my own.
Like a terrible scenario.
For like 3 days. And Anthony took me to the Santa Maria Novella store.
Okay.
Which is like it's a monastery where they make these beautiful Italian perfumes. So it's like the perfect experience for me. So you just like pick up
olfactory. Let's go with olfactory. We got nothing else. Exactly. Nothing else left. So
yeah. Which this is so sweet. But
good man.
Yeah.
Good man.
He was trying to solve my problem. But we solved it. We got the glasses.
It's when without digging into your vision problem, it sounded, when we first talked about the vacation, it sounded like it was a good experience. And
It's wonderful. I think we would have eloped if I hadn't
if you
had my contacts. I was just like, no way am I getting married with my glasses.
Any new artists that you want to put on blast or give a shout out to that you're excited about their work?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to my friend today about the way that she's going to teach me how to make paper from paper pulp. Ariana
cool.
Manai is her name.
Ariana Manai. So
I have so many friends. I feel bad just naming one because then I feel like I'm leaving them all out.
Sure.
And then they're all working so hard.
Okay. I have been a part of this tradition with some close family friends for like maybe the last 10, 15 years. And each year we gather together for like a start of the year dinner. And
cool. Do you have a big family?
I do have a big family. Yeah. This is more friend.
I feel like I could tell that about you.
Yeah. Big family. My dad's side of family we have like 515 living cousins. Crazy.
And you guys are all American?
All American. Yeah.
I feel like the other
Seventh
people
generation.
that have that many cousins are like, they're from somewhere else.
So these family friends dinners that we do every year, and they're called Heartstone dinners. And I lived in Portland for 10 years after college, and there's this little like spiritual center that was started by two women in Portland, and they make these bags of clay hearts called Heartstones, and each heart has a word printed on it. And people draw at these dinners that we've done for years, everyone draws a heart, and you get like a word for the year. And it's
a new year. It's the year of the fire horse.
The fire horse. Yeah, we just had
today is the day.
Yeah.
So is this word that are you going to draw one and I'm going to draw one?
You're going to draw one. I've already drawn mine for the year.
Do I have to tell you what I think of the word?
Yeah. Yes. It just depends. Yeah. But I would just like to thank you for being here, sharing your time with us, and invite you if you would want to draw a heart stone.
Yeah, I really want to do
so,
something in that bag.
Yeah, for whatever you need most today is sometimes the cue. And
I like that you're closing your eyes. Sweet.
I say a little prayer. I like to.
Oh, acceptance. Do I get to keep it?
Yeah, no. It's yours.
Are you sure?
Yeah, totally. That's the whole point. It's like you take it with you, and the word, every word in there is intended for the person that gets it. I
feel like it's very relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just acceptance from relevance for just where you're at in your life or today, or they're big words. They're often big, broad words.
I came here today because I was bothered by something, which I don't want to like call anybody out, but I was bothered by something because I felt I had shared an idea for something publicly, and then I felt like someone else then took that idea and ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having this thing, and I was like, I feel so petty, I feel so silly, but like I'm so annoyed, and this person, they're on top of the world, like I don't know, steal my idea, like I don't know if they thought of it. It just then I was thinking like, there are syncopating forces. I don't know why I keep saying syncopating, but like I do think that there is something where that I accept it and also let it go.
Yeah.
I don't know, like that was, I put it down within the hour, but I was just talking with my friend Carrie Cook. She's a great artist. Okay. It's just, I think it's a feeling that everybody feels at one point, and people don't necessarily know what the word is for you unless they compare you to something or someone, and that can be hurtful. But then like when you think about it, it's not anyone's fault or something.
It's gracious.
I like this.
Cool.
It's cute.
Very glad.
Can I read the other words now?
No, you can't. It's legal.
Okay. I don't know. It's your house. Thanks.
That was so
Thanks
seriously,
for having me.
That was so rad.
Good.
We've spent a lot of time around each other, but haven't had a chance to go like deep dive one-on-one. And then now there's, obviously cameras, but thanks, Lauren, for joining us. You nailed it.
Cool.